Senator Chesterfield.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, ladies and gentlemen of the committee. I don't delude myself, since I know everybody sitting at this table, and I know that this bill is not going to pass. However, I would be remiss if I did not come here and advocate for it anyway. I've been fighting against the odds for a very long time in my life, and I know that I am fighting against the odds with this bill. But you gave us a placebo that made you feel better. But the dose is simply not strong enough, and we need to pass this bill. Thank you very much.
Any questions for Senator Chesterfield? Seeing none, thank you, Senator Chesterfield. That's all we have for and against. Senator Hendren, Senator Elliott, would you like to close for the bill?
I'll leave Senator Elliott to make the final words. I just want to thank the committee. I know this isn't enjoyable. This is probably something we would just soon avoid, but I just think it was important to let people present this legislation and why we feel like there's still a lot of work to do. And as I said the other day, I appreciate the work Senator Clark, Senator Hickey, and the others have put together on trying to find something we can pass. I hope someday we get to a point where we pass a bill that has support of people impacted by these crimes. And that's why I felt like it was important for this bill to be heard and for this testimony to be allowed an opportunity to be presented. So thank you for allowing me to do that.
Thank you, and thank you, Mr. Sharing Committee, for hearing us. There are some people who helped work on this bill and were very supportive, and their names are not on the bill because we didn't know where we were going to get to go with this bill. And I do want to recognize that there were people like Greg Ledding, who was here, and Clark Tucker, and Tippy, of course, is on the bill. But there were some others, like Andrew Collins, and for anybody whose name I don't remember, I just want you to know we recognize that you were helpful to this bill. I wanted to do two other things real quickly. One is to kind of correct the record, because this summer, I think it was back in June when we had a press conference about this bill, when the names of those pastors were presented, Mark DeMars cannot come back to this microphone to tell you this. But there have been names added to that list since this summer. Nobody has asked to take his or her name off that list. And at no point has it ever been presented that everything that was in the document was about this bill. That's never been said. And so I just want us to be clear that, 150 or so people have added their names, since that 70 people and 150 or so in January after SB 3 was out. This was not something that somebody did not knowing what was in the bill. And when the bill came out, if anybody had wanted to take their name off, they could have. But the opposite happened. More people added their name to that letter. So I just want to be sure that's clear. And lastly, I think it's going to be really important for us as we move along, as much as we want to have a country that is our ideal. We're not there. I don't know if we'll get there. But I think we ought to keep striving for it, which is one of the reasons I appreciate our even having this discussion today. But the thing I think that we have to grasp, if people who are marginalized keep telling you, no matter how much you think laws are equal, as was said by Jerry when he was here, if I'm in a group and I keep telling you it's not, and you just keep dismissing my experience and telling me, yeah, it is just like you're being erased. And as long as we erase people who keep telling you that is not my witness, that is not my life, and you don't listen because you've just decided we're making it up. No matter what we do with this bill, I ask you, please decide to listen. And don't keep saying, yes, we are a country where everybody is treated equal. Our laws are equal. If people keep telling you day in, week after week, month after month, year after year, listen to me. My experience is not your experience. It is not equal. Please don't erase me because it's not your experience. I would love to see this bill pass out of here and have a shot, as somebody said. But I'm at the end of my remarks, and it's up to you. Thank you for your time.
Action from the committee. Chair doesn't hear a second. The bill did not pass.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
can I make a motion on the bill?
Senator Garner,
Make a motion we do not pass this bill.
a motion do not pass. A second from Senator Ballinger. Discussion. Senator Elliott.
Yes. Yes.
You know, I thought when Dr. DeMoss was speaking, he brought scripture into it, or I wouldn't have. The remark's been made many times that this country is most segregated on Sunday mornings. And because of that, what you said, some of what you said, is we are speaking past each other. We're not hearing each other. And I don't think we realize how much we're not hearing each other. You talked about Black Lives Matter, and as I've talked to friends of mine that are your skin color and pastors, and they've told me what that means to them and their personal experiences. And so I get it. I also speak to others who have nothing in their heart against anyone of another skin color who hear it and hear something completely different that I don't think others can comprehend. And you said, you know, if you were in church together, if you were hearing each other, but we're not. Because that's where. That being said, you know that lots listen, and you know, and Senator Hendren knows that the rules of the legislature and rules of committees, this hearing could have gone much different. We aired it out and let everything that you wanted to say to be said, all the witnesses, everything they wanted to be say to be said. I think more needs to be said. I won't vote for a bill that creates new classes in Arkansas law. I just won't. I've spelled out my reasons many times. The way that we continue to divide ourselves and continue, this thing that, if we could, that Martin Luther King Jr. said, that he wanted his kids to be valued for their character. I go back to that so many times. And it's not that I don't see skin color or that you don't see skin color. But I am so. The Senate is enriched by you, as much as we disagree on so many things, and we work together on so many things. But the Senate is enriched by you and Senator Chesterfield being here. my life has been enriched by becoming your friends. And it pains me to think that just a few years ago, that wouldn't have been possible. And not just sad, what a tragedy that was. That being said, we're talking about legislation, not resolutions. We can make resolutions. Legislation is about what we want to do with law. And as you talk about specifics, as I sat with people working on that other bill who didn't want to do anything, they didn't want that other bill either, and I would be chief among them. When the language was offered that addressed your concerns, someone spoke up and said, if somebody murders somebody, I'm not on their side. And if they picked them out because they're a member of any group, whether they were Republican congressmen and playing softball or because they were transgender.
Dr. King is concerned, we hear a lot about the content of the character and so forth. But he just said so much more than that. You know, when we talk about wanting to be judged by the content of our character, that's just great. But Dr. King was not oblivious to the fact that that's what he wanted, but that is not what's reality. Because Dr. King died fighting for people who were marginalized and who were not judged by the content of their character. And he said so much more about, from the Birmingham jail, the letter from the Birmingham jail about the people who were silent in the face of the people who were marginalized and were not listened to. But those people had to know about the folks that could have been in a position and that were in a position to disadvantage them. And yeah, I think there's so much that we need to do. But when it comes to difficult conversations, we don't have them. And we need to desperately, beyond a setting like this. I would love to see the legislature do that. I'd love to see us lead on that.
And I know that you appreciate that I went the rules way out to allow you, being a non-member, to participate this way.
I do, and that's one of the things I like about it. I like about you, Senator.
Senator Hendren.
But you just called me out, and I wanted to respond.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I'm going to speak on the motion that we have before the floor, before the committee, a do not pass motion. I've been down here for 6 years in the House, 10 years in the Senate, and I've seen that done one time. It is the most hateful, petty thing that you can do to your colleagues. You have a bill before you with 19 of your colleagues as co-sponsor, with bipartisan support, with tremendous support from people that we represent. So I know you can do what you want to do, but I just want you to think about the message that something that petty will do.
Any other discussion? Senator Ballinger.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This whole process has been really petty, really embarrassingly petty, and very self-serving. From the very beginning, your colleagues, back when you were part of our caucus, sat down and talked to you about drafting something that could be, frankly, more inclusive. And instead of working with them, you scheduled a press conference. You include language in here that specifically provides exemptions from hate crimes for I mean, honestly, I can't imagine anybody voting for this that exempts out child molesters and rapists, right? I mean, that, and I get why you did it. I'm not, but the bill itself is a terrible bill. It's a very bad bill, right? And that was brought to your attention. Those conversations were had. There was a lot of other things that was brought to the attention, but that wasn't your plan, Senator Hendren. Your plan was to make the news. Your plan was to become somebody real important. Your plan was to have this new idea of everybody coming together behind the man, Jim Hendren. And no matter what it did to your colleagues, that was the direction you were going. I get it. I understand. And I hate the fact that all this is getting aired out. But the truth is, that's exactly what happened, Senator Hendren.
Senator Hendren.
Mr. Chairman?
Motion for immediate consideration. That's non-debatable. I have a second. All for the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? The motion before us is do not pass. All for the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? No. Motion carried. Roll call. Roll call. It only takes one.
Senator Hendren?
No.
No. Senator Stubblefield? Yes. Senator Rice? No. Senator Johnson? Senator Johnson? Senator Garner?
Yes.
Yes. Senator Ballinger?
Yes.
Yes. Senator Flowers? Senator Flowers?
Sorry. Okay. Motion fails.